Government released the latest employment report this morning.
And CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us live from New York to break down the results. Jill, let's jump right in. What did August show us?
We produced 142,000 jobs. That's a little bit less than expected. 160,000 was kind of the consensus estimate. Also, you remember that these reports, they do get revised for the subsequent 2 months. We got revisions lower for the June and July reports. And so although this was the 44th consecutive month of job growth, the pace is slowing down. Now, the unemployment rate, it ticked down from that 2-year high of 4.3%. We came down to 4.2%. And when you look at wages, I think this is important. Wages were up by 3.8% from a year ago. That's ahead of the almost 3% inflation rate. So this should be very helpful to workers.
So you have the jobs report today, you have next week's inflation report, and those are really the final data points before the Fed meets again to talk about rates.
Yeah, it's showtime, right? For the Fed, September 17th and 18th is that meeting. I think we got a big clue from the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell. In a speech last month, he said he likes the fact that inflation is moving in the right direction, but he also really likes that the labor market is cooling. I know that sounds kind of weird, but he described that the labor market was in an overheated state right after the reopening after COVID. And so I think this really does show us that the Fed is gearing up to cut interest rates at that September meeting. We're expecting 0.25 percentage point to start. But be clear, Powell said the timing, the pace of these rate cuts, it's dependent on the economic data that's released. So there could be times where the Fed decides to cut by 0.5 percentage point. And there could also be times where the Fed says we're skipping a meeting. So we'll really have to wait to see how this progresses from the first rate cut.
Jill Schlesinger joining us live from New York. Jill, as always, great to get your insight. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, too.
You too.
You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell. For more analysis, you can go to JillOnMoney.com.